Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the pig and pig installation. Okay, so installation, I think you guys are already done, so we don't need to discuss about the much installation. Installation is very simple, and I'll tell you what is the if anyone is not done, so I'll just explain how to do it, then you guys can do it. Okay, Apache Pig. Apache Pig, right? It's very simple. You need to download the tarball and extract it and set the class path. So nothing to do with no configuration, nothing to do it. You just need to download it, extract it, and set the class path. You can start using it. Okay. So what is the pig? What is the pig? What is the purpose of it? Right. So pig is for, I can say it's just for Hadoop queries, where you'll just write small queries, and where you can see the results on the console itself. Pig also uses internally map reduces for all your queries, and pig is mainly developed at Yahoo. So it is from Yahoo, and in the 70% of the Yahoo projects are there in pig. Okay, the purpose of the pig is the cleaning of the data. The main purpose of the pig is the cleaning of the data. It is like similar to your SQL language. Pig is also similar to your SQL language. Okay, how pig works? Pig works in such the two different modes. There are two modes. The pig works in the two modes. So one is local mode. Another one is MR mode, MapReduce mode. For the local mode, you no need to running the Hadoop. You no need to run the all Hadoop services. So in MR local mode also, there are two other ways to execute. One is shell or grunt. Other one is batch. And even in MR also, we have another two more modes. One is the grunt. Other one is batch. Okay, so what is a grunt? Grunt is like a shell, like we have seen hive shell, right? Interactive shell. So the same way you will be running grunt mode. Like this is like a shell, your shell, interactive mode. And this is like you will be writing a programs in a one file. You will write all the programs in file. That program you will start executing it. You will start executing it. You will write the program in this. You will use the pig, no pig as a command, and you will start run the program. Okay, we will see grunt and as well as batch mode. Then what is MR mode? MR mode is like something like it will also has a grunt mode as well as the batch mode. In the grunt mode, whatever queries you write in MR, so internally it uses the map reduce. Internally it uses the map reduce, right? So it's very similar to looks like it's SQL but not actually like SQL. It is scripting language. We can call it as a what is called it is the scripting language Latin script. They'll call it as a Latin script language. So and also it is also flow language. Some people call it as a flow language. What is a flow language? The flow language is something like where um, let's assume that you will declare some variable. You will declare some variable. In that variable you will assign some value like a 10, 20 like this. Let's assume that. And this variable I will make use in some other place like this. So what does it mean? I'm loading or assigning some value to the X variable, and I'm start using this X variable some other place, right? And there's a Y. So the Y, I may use this Y also some other place, right? So this is like a flow language. Your X variable is coming here and it's coming here and it's you started using like this. This is called flow language, right? So your hive is not like that. If you guys remember hive is like directly you'll write a query and get the results. Is there something like a hive we can see like this? We don't have such kind of thing. Okay, so in Pig everything is like a tuple. What is a tuple? Tuple. What is a tuple? Tuple is something like, this is two-dimensional tuple. This is three-dimension tuple. This is n-dimension tuple. Tuple. Tuple is like a pair, like a like some collection of variables, or I can say collection of values in representing the brackets, parenthesis. That is called tuple, right? Because it is looks like a similar. It is similar to your SQL language. You no need to know Java language, and you no need to write big Java programs. The main purpose of the pig is in any of the project. The main purpose of this is to clean up the data. Most of the projects they will use pig for the clean up the data. Whatever the results will come, that results will be using by some other frameworks. I mean some other tools. Like so let's assume that you have some data. You have some data. In this data, like some kind of validations will do. Some kind of validations you will do. After doing the validations, we'll put bad records and you'll get the good records. These good records we will load into one file. These good records you will load into one file, and the bad records you will keep in one file. And after once you get the good records, so these records you will start using your on this file you will start working whatever the process you want to do, you will be start doing on this process. This is this kind of some schema validation, or you can say some kind of data cleanup. You can say some kind of data cleanup. So whatever the queries you write in your Apache Pig, like Hadoop queries, so that is totally convert into MapReduce jobs. It means as similar as your Hive, internally it uses MapReduce. Okay. So any doubts still here? Introduction of this Pig. Any doubts? Any doubts, guys? Aparna. Okay. So let's look at the small programs we'll start doing and we'll start executing them. So as I said before, it is originated from the pig script, and the script is originated from the Yahoo. So 70 to 75% of all the jobs they will return in the pig for the cleaning up, or some they have their own use cases. The main use cases like weblog processing. The main use cases are like, that is cursor, yeah. Use cases are like weblog processing, cleaning up, and you can say some kind of data mining, cleaning up the data, clean up, something like you can say processing images, image processing. Okay, so I have seen in the real time this one. Okay, and weblog processing also I have seen, but I didn't see the data mining and image processing, and there are some more cases. Okay, I didn't see much, but I will be explaining you what is the data cleanup, how they will do the data cleanup with some programs. We'll be seeing that. Okay, so where to use the pick is, can anyone tell me? So as per our explanation till here, where to use pick? Where to use pick? Can anyone tell me where to use pig? So very simple. There are some kind of cases, like let me explain them. So as I said, it's a flow language, right? It's a programming flow language. So here, uh, like you are getting some time sensitive data. What is the time sensitive data? Let's assume that you are getting some data. You are getting the data and load the data, loading data. After loading the data, that data you want to like um, time. See, you're loading the data. Okay, that data, huge data, it is taking to load the data. Then you want to do some cleanup process on top of it in the faster fashion. So to do that, we will go with the pick. So let's assume that you have some huge data is there, and you want that clean up the huge data. Okay, that data you want to load it into specific uh, variable and start doing some cleanup, like based on the time, based on the bad records, good records, where you can where you can segregate the records into bad records and good records. Then go ahead and work on the good records, and you can report that these many are the bad records, these many are the bad records. So your pig is runs in the client machine. So from let's assume that we have seen Hive shell, right? The Hive shell will be executing where, and our client machine. From Hive we will from our shell we can connect to the Hive. From the shell, what are the commands you write, it will be converting into MapReduce and it will be executing, right? The same way, even pig also we will write it in the, it resides in the client machine. Resides in the client machine in means, let me show you here. Let me show you here. These are the some pig script we have written. There are some pig scripts. Okay, let it be here. Let me reactivate. I will show you how the shell looks. Okay, okay. Now let's clean up this. So okay, let's say, so as I said, there are two modes to get into the pig, right? As I said, there are two modes to get into the pig. To get into the local, to get into the local mode, local grunt mode. Okay, what you need to do, you need to type pig -x local, pig -x local. So look at here. So I'm going to execute here. Is the cursor? I'm not able to see something. Okay, pig -x local. You need to type pig -x local. You don't need to be running the your Java services, so your Hadoop services. You don't need them to run. If you just to type pig, it will go into MR mode. If you just to type pig, if you just to type pig, if you just to type pig, it will run in the MR mode. It will run in the MR mode. So if you want to launch in MR mode, it will the pig. It will, if you write like this, it will launch in MR mode. So if it's launched in MR mode, input it is expecting from MR only, the your HDFS only, and output also will go to HDFS only. The input will go into HDFS and the output also will go into HDFS. If you write in a MR, if you log in into MR mode, okay, okay. So let's look at this here. So this is a grunt. You'll get a grunt like this. You'll get a grunt like this. Okay, so we'll write some sample program. We'll just write some simple program, but before that, let's try to understand a little more about the pig. Try to understand a little more about the pig. Let me clean up this. Okay. Okay, so where not to use the pig? So where should not be used pig? Like you're getting a very nasty data like different kind of formats, which is not in a proper structure format, or if it's not in a proper semi-structure format, completely unstructured. Even image process I have told you, right? So image process, it has a different algorithm to process that. But if you have a very nasty data which is not in the same format, and which is it is one line is one format, another line is other format, and one line has a 10 columns or 10 rows, and one line has very less, and which is not really good data. So we cannot go ahead and I can say completely unstructured and complicated data where we cannot go ahead and use it. And it and we know that pig uses internally MapReduce, so it's a really a little different, little slow compared to direct MapReduce, where you are worrying about the time, like it has to finish quickly, and the pig will take so much of time to convert your pig script into my MR MapReduce jobs, and it will launch MapReduce jobs. So again, it is slower than your MapReduce. So where you are expecting more performance like MapReduce, the pig is not recommended, right? So the only advantage of using pig is like you can clean up the data by using like a simple queries like SQL queries, SQL like language, and the data flow language, I can say, and where you don't need to know the Java, right? So to go with a pig, you don't need to know the Java. That's another uh, that's another point. I mean, that's another reason to people start using the pig. Okay, so let's look at a simple let's look at a simple program. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Getting into, I'll show you a simple example here how the pig will look, and pig also will have a data types. We'll be seeing the pig data types as well. Okay, so just let's look at a simple program where I'm going to write. As I said before, the cursor is not moving. One second, the pen pad. Oh, okay, now it is. So let's say I have some, as I said before, the pig internally, whatever you write in the pig, it will be in the form of tuples. Each tuple you can say one record. Each tuple you can say one record. Okay, let me show you a simple example where I'm loading the data, I'm displaying the data. So I just want to load the data, and I want to show the data. I mean, load the data and display the data. So let's go back to your shell mode. Okay, so I don't have something like val or var variable into float kind of thing is not there. So based on the data you load, it's a bulk data, right? You will be loading into that, and internal it maintains the schema as well. We'll be talking about that. Let's say x equal to load. So I'm going to load some data in it. I'm going to load some data in it. So I'll be displaying the data. I'll just load some data, and I will be displaying the data. So before that loading the data, I should let me find out some data in my here. I need some. I'm logging into local mode, right? So if I'm using local mode, I should have a data in local mode only. Somewhere I have a big data. Inside the big data, I have something called A, B, C. There's something or and some URL count I have, or else I can create some. sample data, and then I load it. Okay, so everyone will have some file in internally that I will load it. Everyone will have something called passwords data. Let me load that. Slash etc slash its name was passwd. This is the one. This is everyone will be having this file in their etc folder. So I'm loading this file. Press enter. It has been loaded. So it has been loaded. You can read, you can try to understand this. Okay, you can try to understand the what you call, 1 second guys. Yeah, you can understand this what they have done. See here, configuration deprecated, IO bytes per checksum is deprecated instead of use DFS byte as per checksum. This means some configurations are there by default. Those configurations are being deprecated. Instead of that, you can use the main deprecated fs dot default dot name. So this, instead of that, fs dot default fs. Do you guys remember we have that fs no default fs name? What is your default fs name? So if you go ahead and see your hdfs path, it will be there, this path, default fs name. So we didn't override that, but we are using the default path, right? So now we have loaded the data into x variable. Whether the data is loaded into x variable or not, how we will know? So there is something called dump command here. So there is some command called dump command. This dump command internally uses the MapReduce, but here we are running in the local mode. There is no MapReduce. MapReduce will not be launched, but it will start displaying. It will start launching a background some processes, and it will start show you the results. See here, this is the uh, okay. Before that, everyone look at what is how it looks like your etc data. Okay, let me show you that actually how your etc password data looks. First look at the password data, then then after loading into Pig, how it will converted. So I'll be showing the difference. Okay, we're given the wrong username. Username is wrong, we have given. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you slash etc slash passwd. So look at guys here how the data looks. Let me show you one more time. It looks like this. The data looks like this. We have something called some, I can say, user and some variables and some kind of shell. So it is by, it's a delimited with a colon. It is delimited with a colon. Look at guys the whole data. It's a delimited with a colon. Okay, this is how the actual data looks after loading into Pig. You sorry, after loading into Pig, you see the data how it is looking. Let me copy and show you somewhere. It's like this. Let me show you the actual data how it looks. While I'm copying, it came out, so I'm logging it again. Look at guys here. See here something like a daemon, bin, sys, and colon, some numbers, and the some shell, some like some where is this, where it is located. So some kind of information it is loading, right? Some kind of information. But when you load into the page, yes, if you look at it, it is converted as a tuple. But it is a single tuple. No, it is a single column now. It is not like a multiple columns. If you specify the delimiter, then it will go into multiple columns, but we didn't specify the delimiter. It is there in the single column now. So everything is treated as a single column. Everything is treated as a single column. But you can see here is converted into tuple, single dimension tuple, right? But it was the data, but as soon as you converted as soon as you loaded, each line, or you can say each record, is converted as a single tuple, right? So how many lines are there in the original data? Those many lines, like those many are has been no those many has been tuples has been created. So those many tuples has been created. So this is this is how whenever the data loads into the pig, it will be converted like this. So you can work on the each line, each tuple. So you can do some operations in each tuple. But there are some loops for it, like for each loop, and there are we can group by some specific things. There are so many things we will be seeing that. Okay, as soon as you load into the pig, it is converted into tuples, right? So again, let me execute that because we have come out from the shell. So let me execute it. Or you can say describe x. mm, Straight x. Why it is not coming? We can see the schema of this by using the describe command. I don't know why it is not showing here. Anyway, we'll see that later. Okay, so to load the data, how we have a delimiters, right? To load the data in a Hive, we have a something called row format delimiter for, right? The same way here we have something called pig storage. The different storages are available. So the storages are like something, um, the storages will say that um, like whether you are which delimiter you are using. There are so many storages like a pig storage, like a pig the like let me show that. Yeah, there is something called pig storage. The pig storage you can delimit with a comma, you can delimit with a tab and all. So if you want to use a different kind of storages, like if you want to load from the HBase, so you can use the HBase storage. You want to load from the different kind of formats, like how can I say? Let me take an example. Which storage you can use? You want to get from the HBase, you can use the HBase storage. Suppose you want to load something like JSON data, you can use the JSON storage, right? So if you want to load something called sequence files, you can use the sequence loader. If you want to load a Parquet file, you can load the Parquet file using Parquet loader. So like that, there are different kind of storages are available in a PIC. Each storage is like no input format in our MapReduce. We have something called input formats, right? What type of data we are loading into MapReduce, the similar we will be specifying the input format. Here also the similar kind of thing. Suppose I'm loading a JSON data, I have something called JSON storage. We'll be using JSON storage. Suppose if I'm loading some data from the HBase, so I can use the HBase storage. So suppose I want to load some binary data, so I can say binary storage. I can say some kind of binary storage, right? So this is how the pig the delimits the data. But you have a special kind of data, you don't have any storage, then how you can load? So how we have written the custom input formats, the same way we can write here custom loaders. Okay, we will write like the custom loaders. So let me show you how there are some some building blocks, I can say, like there are some code how when we're writing a code, there are some, and how we will comment. So in the, if you want to, we can see comments, how we will comment in single line, how we will comment single lines. Okay, we'll be seeing that, and we'll see how whether the pig is case sensitive or non-case sensitive. So I can say pig is either case sensitive or non-case sensitive. What is that? So I can say that few things in pig are case sensitive, few things are not case sensitive. So we will be seeing that which are the case sensitive, which are not case sensitive, right? So in this comment we are talking about, right, how the comments will looks. The comment, the single comments, we will be defining like a hyphen hyphen. So you might have known it. In SQL we will be writing the comments like hyphen hyphen. The same way here also for the single line. For the single line comments we will use like this. Suppose you want to write for the multiple lines. So as similar as your other multiple lines comments. Multiple lines comment, right? So as I said before, case sensitive or non-sensitive. So in this pick, few things, if you talk like pick storage, the storage whatever I was talking about, pick storage, JSON storage, HBase storage, Parquet, or different kind of storages, right? Those are case sensitive. Like let me tell you, the case sensitive are functions. All functions, what are the functions you are going to use, those are case sensitive. There are some relations, I'll be showing that. The relations also are case sensitive. And storage type fields, fields are like column names. We'll be defining the schema, I'll be showing that. These type of things are case sensitive. The non-case sensitive, like your operators, like your keywords, those are not case sensitive, right? Those are not case insensitive. We'll be seeing that. I'll be showing you which one is the case sensitive while writing your program, which one is not case sensitive. I'll be showing you that. Okay. So coming to casting, there is something called casting. What is a casting, guys? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what is a casting? Can anyone tell me
It's
what is?
something like
Mm-hmm.
it's something like data type conversion.
Yeah, data type conversion. So how we will be casting in Java or some other languages? Suppose you want to store other type of data into an other type of data, but the type is same. Type is same, but you want to, let's say there is some value which is a long value, and you want to load into, integer, but the value is a very small number, 100. But you can load in, right? So there are two type of castings, if you guys remember: implicit casting and explicit casting. Correct? An implicit casting and explicit casting, correct? So which is the implicit casting is automatically done by your compiler, right? Yes or no, guys? So you have something some long equal to 100, long L equal to 100. So this 100 I want to store in integer. Can I store it or not? Can I store it or not? Like this. So internally it converts, even though it's the data type is no, even though the data type is long, it will, without your intervention, without you no need to specify anything, it will take care of. This type of things are called like uh, implicit casting. Let's assume that you have int x equal to 1000, okay, and a long equal to x. Can you do it or not? This is done by your compiler. You don't need to explicitly say it. You don't need to explicitly say it, right? So there are some other type of casting which developer will do. Developer will specify it, right? So how it is like, let's assume that I want to convert some other data type. So let's say I'm getting object data type. I'm taking simple example, guys. I'm getting the object data type. This object data type I want to convert into employee. So what I will say, employee equal to employee of, in the bracket I'll specify obj. So I'm explicitly saying it. you convert into employee. You convert into employee, right? We're explicitly saying into converting. That's called explicit casting. So these type of things are supported by, because it's a it's a programming flow language. It is not like your the queries where you'll write this just query and get it. It is kind of a flow language where we'll be need these all these type of things. Understand guys what I'm trying to explain, right? Any doubts? Any doubts? Okay, so like our hive, like our other languages, even your pig also has some data types. Pig also has some data types. Like there are two type of data types, like I can say primitive data types and complex data types, or you can say scalar data types and complex data types. What is the scalar data types? What is the scalar data types? Can anyone tell me some data types? Like a primitive data types, who will holds the primitive values? Like you have a int, long, float, double, right? Character array, byte array, guys, boolean, right? And so on. There is something called date time. There is something called date time. Your char array is nothing but like a string. Okay, the default is a byte array. The default data type is byte array, right? So when it comes to this is the primitive data type, there is something called complex data type, as I said. So what is the complex data type? The complex data types, like in Hive, we have a array, struct, map, we have, right? Similar here, but not exactly the same. Here we have a tuple. Tuple is one type of data type. We'll talk more about what is a tuple. So as I said, like order to collection of fields, like how it looks like this, like this, right? So this tuple contains the collection of two fields. In these two fields, these are primitive data types. These are primitive data types. Yes or no, guys? So there is another called map. So do you guys remember what is a map? Key value pair, right? We have a key value pair. So let's say I have a x comma 10 square brackets. So this is a map data type. So key is associated with the respective value. A key is associated with the respective value. So tuples are represented by your parentheses and maps are represented by square brackets. And there is something called bag. There is something called bag. We'll be seeing each and every data type with an example. So not to worry about the examples. We'll be seeing each and every uh, uh, point with an example. So there is something bag. The bag is a collection of I can say tuples, collection of tuples, which will come. It will represent by flower brackets like this, which contains, I can say, unordered, no need to be in order. Okay, so we can all, some people will call this is a relation. This is some people call this is a relation. And like in this you will be having, let me show you some example. Here you have one value, two value, three value, and you have closed it like this. This is one tuple, another tuple, another tuple. So a collection of multiple tuples or collection of group of tuples is called a bag. A bag, right? Any doubts? Right? So as we stored Hive output into the HDFS, here also we have something called stored as. So we'll also can store this output into HDFS. Your Prig script output we can also store into HDFS. Those things we will be seeing with an example. So we'll do that in a very detailed way. Any doubts still here? Any doubts?
Sir, bag is a collection of only tuples or it
A
can
bag
have
is
other data too?
no bag is a collection of tuples.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, bag is a collection of tuples. There is no other data types. It can be internal. It can be primitive data types. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. So I was talking about something called schema, right? What is a schema? Can anyone tell me? In a Hive, while creating your table, we will be specifying a schema, right? This column is this, and this is the column name, and this is the data type. This is the column, and this is the data type. The same way, even Pig also has some schema. Pig also has schema. There are two type of schemas. So Pig has schema. What is that? There are two type of schemas. One is automatic schema. Other one is manual. Manual. So we have to give it. We have to give it. What is automatic schema? So when you load the data, if you have seen before example, when I load the data, x equal to load, and I given the path of the data. Correct? Correct? Yes or no, guys? We have seen we just loaded the data. So when you load this data, what is your column name there? What is your column there? Right? So there is no column name. There is no data type. You simply loaded the data. Then, but Pig, as I said, Pig uses internally a schema. So as soon as I load this, your Pig creates a schema for it saying that the $0 is the first column, $0 is the first column because we didn't specify any column, and byte array is your data type. Byte array is the default data type. So there is no name for it. There is no column name. You didn't specify any column name. So when you didn't specify the column name, it will take it as a anonymous column. Those columns you can specify by using $0. $0 means first column. $1 means second column. $2 means next column, and so on. Understand, guys? So other schema type is manual. So what is a manual schema? So while I'm loading the data, load some path using Pig storage. Let's assume that I'm going to use a Pig storage. I'll be specifying the delimiter. Let's assume that. And as I'll be specifying the columns. Col1, colon, which type of it is. If it is a string, char array. If it is the integer, if it is the integer, call2 colon int. So like this, I'll be specifying my columns. In this case, by using the column names, you can start accessing them. By using the column names, you can start accessing them. So that is where we're explicitly specifying the data types for column names for column name and data type for each field, right? What is a field? A field is a piece of data. It has a name and value. Name and type of the data and what are the value you're storing in it, right? The value can be it can be your primitive data type or it can be your complex data type. Guys, any doubt? Any doubt?
Yeah, Ravi, actually, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Means in case of peak, where it stores the metadata information.
Okay, so the
Means
metadata,
like in Hive.
the schema
Okay.
information.
Yes.
So see, in Hive we are using when we create a table, it is the metadata is storing into a database. So what is the column, what is the name of
Correct.
type of the column and all. But in Pig it uses internally itself. The Pig is not, as soon as you say load the data is not going to load. So when you dump the data, then only while loading the data, it is converting into the specific data types. So it is not maintaining any external or any database for loading the schema information. The schema information it will be storing in with the Pig internally. It's not going to store anywhere.
Okay.
See, when you say load X, see when it comes to the when it comes to the Hive, when you say load, it is loading the data like into HDFS. But it is not loading into HDFS here. It is putting into some temporary variable. It is not actually data loading. It is just referencing the data. As soon as you do some operations and when you say load as back to HDFS, that time the results are loading into HDFS. Till the time whatever the data you're loading and you're doing it's just kind of interpreting. Taking the data, you're not storing anywhere. You're taking into the RAM and you started processing the data. The final result you are storing back to HDFS. So by default, the data
So
will
the
be
data storage.
in the RAM.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here data storage is not a burden to name node, right?
No, no, no. See, there when you create a table, after creating table, when you say load command, the data physically loading into HDFS, but here is not. Right? See, we are writing some,
Okay.
let's say if you're writing a PLSQL program or if you're writing some Java program. In the Java, you say int I equal to 10. The way the 10 is storing, the hard disk, it is loading into a heap memory, correct? For further processing. The same way here as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other doubts? Okay, we'll be seeing some more example. I mean, we'll be seeing more examples tomorrow onwards. Today, just like an introduction on what is a pig, how it will work, what are the things are there in the pig. To explain you that I have taken this. So tomorrow onwards, we'll be loading some data. We'll be writing some commands like for each filter, group by, finding the limitations, splitting the data. So we'll be seeing that example from tomorrow.
And one more question, that is that etc password, that is something default, it is there in Hive folder
No, no,
inside.
that is like your Linux phone. It is like your Linux one. It's no
Okay,
related with the no related with the
okay,
pig
okay,
or
okay.
Express.
Okay, wait.
Yes, I mean to show you a sample how it will work. To show load the sample like before we are loading some sample data, right? To show you that, yeah.
Okay.